what is up? Mr. B here again, bringing another sweet, wicked, awesome math video. This video I'm going to talk a little bit about, sort of build off what I did in my last video. In my last video I talked about critical points. Well, to this video today I'm going to talk about hypercritical points, which allows us to find concavity and something called points of inflection when we're graphing, rational functions. Polynomials, what I'm going to do today. But it gives us that a little bit of a way of giving the most accurate sketches possible using derivatives. So let's jump right into it. Again, guys, if this video helps you at all, please like, share, subscribe. I'm trying to get my goal of 20K subscribers by the end of the year. So I'm at almost 16 now, or 16 or something, and we'll see how it goes. All right. So first thing, when we're talking about we talked last video about critical points, which allows us to get max and mins, intervals of increase and decrease, that kind of thing. Well, today we're going to talk about the second derivative. The second derivative allows us to basically know exactly where a graph opens up and opens down, which we kind of refer to as concavity. So if you look at this graph here, I have a graph of a quartic, and there's some real areas here that we can kind of examine where it opens up and open down. I got a definition of concavity there on the screen, but basically it's exactly what I just said. It's where the graph opens up or opens down, and you can always kind of really tell easily where the graph opens up and opens down. It's just like if the graph generally has a shape that's pointing up or pointing down. So if you look at this part of the graph, get a different color there, you can kind of see that part of the graph is opening up. And opening up means like the graph has a curve that's pointing to the sky. And then this part right here, well, that U shape is downwards. And then this part right here, that's opening up. Now we can get into a big conversation about tangent lines and all that kind of thing, but I think it's more important for you guys just to have a basic understanding when you're just starting this, is really what opens up and opens down. And always think about a quadratic. When you learn a quadratic, this is opens up. The graph opens to the sky, and this opens down to the bottom of the page, right? So that's the idea of opens up and opens down. Now, points of inflection are what we get when a graph goes from up to down or down to up. So if you look here, we have a point of inflection somewhere in the neighborhood of about right here. And you can clearly see the graph is opening up, and then when it reaches that point, it opens down, and then there would be another point of inflection around here somewhere, and then it would open up again. So those points on the graph we find from the second derivative. All right, we find those points from the second derivative the exact same way that we found critical points. So we call them hypercritical points. And literally this is the exact same methodology. It just means something different as the first derivative test. So this is called, some people call it the concavity test. It is not the second derivative test, it's concavity test. Okay, so hypercritical points are locations or possible locations of points of inflection. They occur when we set, or we find them when we set the second derivative equals 0, or when it does not exist. Now, the concavity aspect of this is we want to find, obviously, when we do our second derivative, we want to see where it's concave up and then it switches the concave down. So we have to remember that this similar idea to the first derivative test is that when the derivative is positive, our graph concaves up. When the derivative is negative, the graph concaves down. All right, so that is basically the gist behind hypercritical points and concavity. And I know sometimes seeing this is kind of when you're talking about the theoretical of it, it's easier to see it when we from when we actually do an example. So let's go ahead and determine the intervals of concavity and the points of inflection for this function. So this is a quartic. So just like you know, in the last example, we did a cubic for critical numbers. Every example kind of has its own little feel, and you'll sort of get the hint of it. Now, like I say before, this is the start of this. You have to build up to harder, more difficult functions, which would be rational functions, and there'll be more videos to come on those eventually. I've probably already got some on my channel as well. All right, so let's go ahead, and since we're looking for concavity and points of inflection, we're going to go ahead and take two derivatives. So the first derivative, f prime of x, so it's going to be 12 x to the 3. Again, this is the power rule. This is not a video on the power rule. If you're not sure, go back and watch my other videos. But basically, all I do is 4 times 3 is 12, minus 1 off. 3 times 16 is 48, minus 1 off. And then 2 times 24, also 48, minus 1 off. And there we are. So there is my first derivative. Now we're going to go ahead and do that again. The derivative of negative 9 is nothing. That's why it's not there. So f double prime. So we got 12 times 3. That's 36 x squared. And then we got 2 times 48. That's 96 x. And then we got 48, just like that. So that is our first step to get the derivative and then to get the second derivative. Okay. Now, ideally, if this was a long question, we would do, you know, the critical points, maximums, intervals of increase and decrease. Then we'd move on. But we're just exploring concavity, points of inflection, and hypercritical points. So let's call that our first step, finding the derivative. Step 2 is our hypercritical points. So our hypercrits numbers, just like that. So for hypercrits, we would take f double prime of x and set it equal to 0. If it was a rational function, we would set the denominator equal to 0 and look for any points where it didn't exist. So we'd take our derivative just like that, set it equal to 0. Now, like I said before, we want to make sure that we make life as, you know, easy as possible. So we want to divide by something here as much as we can. So I think I'm going to divide this by 12. Just going to get my calculator to make sure I don't make a mistake. So I'll divide this by 12. So that leaves me with 3x squared, and then 96 divided by 12 is 8x, and then 4 equals 0. Just want to make sure I got that 96 by 12 correct. I don't like to make mistakes when I'm making a video and then go back and watch and be like, God damn it. Alright, so next step, we want to actually factor this thing. So again, I'm going to use the Barnes method for factoring. If you are a decomp person, sorry you haven't come to the dark side yet, but Barnes method is a great method. So what adds to give us negative 8, multiplies to give us 12. So the numbers are both going to be negative. So it's x minus 2, x minus 6. Only thing about the Barnes method we need to remember is once we figure out those numbers, we divide by the leading coefficient of our most recent thing that we that we used to factor. So that ends up being 3x minus 2, and then x minus 2 equals 0. So a lot of people ask me why I like this method better. Well, first of all, it's way quicker, takes up way less space, but also, once you get good at it, you can actually do it in your head. Like, it's not that challenging of a method that you can't sort of sort those numbers out in your head. So when you're doing practice, you don't want to be always trying to take the long route and writing out every big thing. Like, decomp is not something I can mentally do. There might be people out there who can, but I'm not one of them. But I can mentally do this most of the time, right? Also, once you get that first step done, when you're solving, you really got the work done. Like, if you look at that 2 over 3, x minus 2 over 3, that's our solution. that's what this gives us, right? This gives us x equals 2 over 3 as my x value. And 6 over 3, this gives us x equals 2. You just got to really just flip the signs, right? So it's a useful way to factor. I highly recommend learning it, especially, it might not be your go-to method, but in a pinch, you never know, it might get you out of a tight spot. Once we get that done, we get our numbers, what we want to do is we want to do a number line to get our intervals of concavity. So our intervals of concavity. So remember that points of inflection is where we have a change in concavity. Those hypercritical numbers are where the changes are possibly going to occur. So again, there's no guarantee that they will. This is a polynomial, it will for sure, but for a rational function it might not. So we make our number line. On our number line, we put double prime, because that's what our derivative that we're looking at, the second derivative. And then on my number line, I put 2 over 3, and then 2. So lots of different ways to tackle this number line. We could do test points. We could look at the general shape of our second derivative, which is the best way to do it. So our second derivative is a quadratic with a value of 36, right? So that's, I'm looking at this guy. Again, it doesn't matter. You can look at any of them. And since our a value is positive, it means the graph opens up. The quadratic, that is, the derivative. So if I dotted the derivative on here, it would look like this. And remember, for our intervals concavity in this number line, the purpose is just to figure out where the second derivative is positive and negative. That's it. Okay, so we can do that by picking test points in our interval, or if there are easier ways, like knowing the general shapes of functions and how they behave, that is the much easier way. Quadratics is a must know. So when a quadratic opens up, it has 2x intercept. It's going to be first, it's going to be positive, then it's going to be negative in between the 2x intercepts, and then it's going to be positive. And that gives us our intervals concavity. So wherever it's plus, it's going to be concave up. So I'm actually going to draw that in. So this graph right here is concave up. Then it's concave down because it's negative, the second derivative, and then it's concave up. So what that means is we have two points of inflection. So that's our fifth step. Step number 4, our points of inflection. So all we do to figure out the actual points themselves are sub the hypercritical numbers that we got, that we proved there was a point of inflection, back into the original. So remember that in order to have a point of inflection, it has to change concavity. So we have two places, right? When x equals 2 over 3, it changes concavity, and then when x equals 2. Now, if we were graphing this, the y values would be very important because we'd have to put that on the graph to actually represent, to have the most accurate sketch. So all we do is we put 2 over 3 back into our original function, and we get 2 over 3 to the power 4. Obviously, this is not very mental math friendly. All to the power 3. Let me zoom up on this a little bit, and then of course she's locking up on me here, guys. Give me 1 second now. There we go. I think I got her. There we go. Thank God. A little tiny bit. 24x squared. So 2 over 3 squared minus 9. And when you run the numbers on that, you get somewhere about negative 2.5. I think it is. No, sorry, positive 2.5. Positive 2.5. Not exactly, but around that, right? So again, the number, the y value is not that important to us right now. It's the process. We do the exact same thing with the 2. I'm not going to run the numbers on that. I'm going to leave you in suspense so you guys can figure out that number and drop it in the comments. Just remember that you always run those X values back through the Y. Alright guys, thanks again for watching. Trying to get you guys as many videos as I can over the next few weeks, so any support, any likes, shares, all that kind of stuff, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for all supporting the channel. You know, I do this because I love helping people, so it's always great to hear comments. So if you this video helped you in any way, drop a comment. Alright guys, thanks so much. See you guys in class. Peace.